Hello, I am Dr. Elizabeth Samantha Rothschild, Judge, founder and Chief Executive Officer, CEO of Corporate Law and Securities Incorporated, with a national security brief. As I mentioned in another brief, we have various capacities. There's the local level, the state level, and the federal level. So I'm going to speak about at the local capacity at this particular time, and really most specifically, the security of public officials and government officials at the local level. And this is where your local police, and with me being in Washington, D.C., it would be the Metro Police, come into play. It's their jurisdiction. All right, so I've been staying at the homeless shelters where I am currently staying during this interim until my mother and I acquire housing. My mother, Monica Jones, who is the Chief Operations Officer for Corporate Law and Securities Incorporated. With regard to this subject topic, the security, and with us being public officials, with me being a government official, and the security breaches at this capacity at the homeless shelter. Well, the shelter I'm staying at is low barrier, so anyone can get in. And this capacity is where crimes of nuisance and criminal malfeasance are most prevalent. So first thing is to avoid the identity theft. Identity theft entails more than just your name and your status. It's more than just someone trying to pretend to be me or pretending that they are of the same status that I am. It is also persons trying to associate. So staying at the shelter, being around people who are homeless, sometimes criminals get mixed up in the crowd because, you have your sex offenders and whatnot, and where else can they go but to the homeless shelter? So there's many sex offenders at the homeless shelters who are not registered. What I found to be a security breach at this capacity are persons coming around pretending to know me. And they do that behind my back, of course, because in my face I would definitely address the issue. But they want to defraud the organizations and facilities for whatever their reasons or purposes, whatever they want to get out of it. Defraud my character by association, to say I wouldn't even, because I'm a government official, because I am a judge and I'm held to a higher standard, would not associate with persons who were not good citizens. And as well, defamation of character is prevalent to be committed against public officials at the local level, because to associate to a judge a criminal or someone who is a harassment or a stalker, well, that's defaming that person's character. So what can you do to maintain your good security at this level when you are at a federal capacity or the state level, at the local level, without becoming a nuisance yourself to the police, because everything may not be reported and things happen so quickly it's difficult to report them. So without becoming a security breach to the police, who some persons will cause a problem just so the police can come out and waste the police's time, and that is a security breach to our local authorities who are here to protect and serve us and protect us from security breaches and to secure us. And it is also a security breach to the special police. So what I've dealt with is persons following me around, and it's been from one place to the next because I'm high profile. That's the reason why I'm a target, is because I'm high profile, and persons want to associate to someone of my good rapport so that perhaps when they commit a crime or a malfeasance, it will be overlooked. So staying at the shelters, I have to consider the people that work there, the special police there, and the persons that are there just to get their housing, staying due to financial duress or some other issue. Maybe their old people died and they're by themselves now. I have to consider the security of all of these persons as well as for myself. So when persons linger too long, or they notice, oh, she's logged onto the internet because my status says active. And so since, oh, now I'm logged onto the internet, now they're up following me around. Or I log off. Now let's look for her where she would be if she were, hey, Cornish. Let's look for her where she would be when she's logged off. These things happen to other persons who are not so high profile, and it goes unnoticed. Unsuspecting staff member who checks someone into the shelter who is pretending to know me when I've already said I'm here by myself. Well, that's a security breach. That's a security breach. So is that staff member unsuspecting, or are they incompetent? Those are the things to consider for security breaches at this capacity. So persons who are looking at me being of federal jurisprudence, whereby I'm abiding at a homeless shelter at the local level. These are the things that you would deal with if you brought your job's duties and descriptions into this capacity. So, and then keeping with all of that, I have my job to do. I have to consider persons that I do business with for these security breaches. So if I'm going to a business meeting and I'm noticing some people from the homeless shelter who have no business following me in the first place, or following me around, well, then I have to cancel my business meeting or reschedule, because I cannot endanger that person with whom I want to discuss business and things of that nature. So we want to be mindful of each person's individual space, the right to make a livelihood, the right to live, the right to abide, and not impart ignorance into someone's security. Otherwise, we breach that security. That means we have to always be aware that these sorts of things can happen, and be open and honest about events so that we can get to the bottom of it. And that is the local capacity. And just because I'm staying at the homeless shelter, that does not seclude me to these things happening to me. This could happen to someone living at their home. Just as much as I can be followed from the homeless shelter, a person can be stalked from their home. And that's something to consider. Thank you for joining me for the CLAS Inc. security brief for the local level, specifically for the homeless capacity. You all have a nice day.